Stay connected with Links 123. Like, subscribe, and join our community. The Haunting of Yellow Birch Ravine. Yellow Birch Ravine, nestled in the dense woods near Tazewell, Indiana, was a place of quiet beauty by day. Its golden-leafed birch trees towered over hikers, sunlight filtering through the canopy to dance on the mossy forest floor. A creek winds its way through the ravine, its gentle babble masking the whispers of the woods. But at night, Yellow Birch Ravine became something else entirely. Locals in Tazewell had long warned of the dangers of staying too late. "Don't be caught in Yellow Birch Ravine," they'd say. Stories of strange disappearances and eerie phenomena spread like wildfire among the small-town residents. Some claimed to hear whispers calling their names. Others spoke of shadowy figures lurking just out of sight. Despite the warnings, Jess, Mike, Elena, and Ben, lifelong friends from Tazewell, decided to camp there one hot summer night. They dismissed the tales as small-town superstition, urban legends meant to scare children. Jess, always the adventurous one, was especially eager to debunk the myths. "It's just a bunch of ghost stories," she said with a laugh as they parked at the trailhead. The sun was setting as they hiked into the ravine, its last golden rays casting long shadows across the trail. The air was heavy, thick with the oppressive heat of late July. By the time they reached their campsite deep in the woods, night had fallen, and the forest was eerily silent. "Is it me? Or is it too quiet?" Elena asked, glancing nervously at the trees. "It's just the heat," Mike said, though he tightened his grip on his flashlight. As they set up their tents, a faint hum drifted through the air. It was barely audible at first, but as they fell silent to listen, the sound grew louder. "It's probably just the wind," Ben said, though his voice was uncertain. Jess frowned. "Wind doesn't hum." The sound was melodic, almost like a lullaby, and it seemed to come from all directions. Then, without a word, Ben stood up and began walking into the woods. "Ben, where are you going?" Jess called, hurrying after him. The others followed, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. No matter how fast they ran, they couldn't seem to catch up. Ben moved steadily, his steps mechanical, his flashlight swinging limply at his side. They stumbled into a clearing, breathless and confused. Ben was nowhere to be seen, but in the center of the clearing stood an ancient wooden sign. The faded letters carved into it read, "Leave while you still can." "What the hell is this?" Mike muttered, shining his flashlight on the sign. The hum grew louder, now accompanied by faint whispers. Jess whipped her flashlight around, the beam illuminating trees that seemed to close in on them. "This isn't funny, Ben," she shouted, panic creeping into her voice. Then Ben stepped out of the shadows. His face was pale, his eyes vacant. In a voice that wasn't his own, he said, "You shouldn't have come here." The ground beneath them began to shake. Vines snaked out of the soil, wrapping around their ankles. The whispers turned into a deafening cacophony, and the trees seemed to move, their branches clawing at the group. "Run!" Jess screamed, pulling Elena free from the vines. They bolted back toward the trail, the forest twisting and changing around them. The path they'd taken earlier was gone, replaced by endless rows of birch trees. Mike tripped, his flashlight clattering to the ground. Jess doubled back to help him, yanking him to his feet. Finally, they broke through the edge of the woods and into the parking lot. They collapsed by their car, gasping for air. The ravine behind them was silent again, but Jess felt the weight of unseen eyes watching. "Where's Ben?" Elena asked, her voice trembling. They looked back at the dark forest. There was no sign of him. Search parties scoured the ravine for weeks, but Ben was never found. Haunted by what they'd experienced, they rarely spoke of that night, though the whispers sometimes found their way into their dreams. Locals continued to warn, "Don't be caught in Yellow Birch Ravine." But the disappearances continued. And on hot summer nights, when the air was thick and still, the hum of Yellow Birch Ravine echoed through Tazewell. Was this a story of fiction or nonfiction? Be careful in Yellow Birch Ravine.